Today we sit down and talk fitness, setting goals, and nutrition on this episode of the Crackin Backs. We welcome to the show extreme triathlete, fitness trainer, Jason Verbie Verbracken. Verbie was just your average, middle-aged guy living a comfortable life as a proud father, devoted husband, and successful salesman. But all that changed when his buddy challenged him to do the unthinkable, complete a triathlon in 2016. Despite not having swum since his Marine Corps days, barely jogging to grab his next beer, and not even owning a bike, Verbie rose to the challenge and accomplished the impossible. That one bet ignited a fire within Verbie, pushing him to take on some of the world's most extreme triathlons, including the Arizona Xtreme Triathlon, the Norseman, Black Lake, and the legendary Himalayan Xtri. People were in awe of his sheer determination and courage as he pushed himself beyond his limits to conquer each and every one of these grueling tests of endurance. So how did Verbie manage to accomplish what seemed impossible, and what's he up to now? Let's find out on today's episode.
Thank you for the show.
Crackin'
I know
Backs.
you've been on a lot of podcasts, but this one's going to be the best one you've ever been on. Just because, if you don't behave, I have a lot of stories I can pull from that we can have a lot. We can have a lot of fun. But, one of the reasons I wanted you on is because you're kind of like a gnarly triathlete. But when people think of triathlons, and especially gnarly ones, they immediately go to Ironmans, like Ironman Hawaii. Well, folks, on this show, I say nay to that because this man took it to the next level. But forget me if I'm wrong, but back in 2016, you really didn't own or ride a bike. You didn't really swim. And you really weren't running that much, except when you were a Marine and you were younger. So let's skip ahead of your initial couple races. And let's just talk Norseman, where you're a black shirt finisher. Let's talk Black Lake Xtreme, where you carved your name into legend. And let's talk Himalaya Extremes. To set the stage, I want to know what it's like to be a GoPro on your chest and in your head coming up with this shit.
Well, I don't know if you want to be in my head. That's a scary place for sure. GoPro on my chest, probably better, more beautiful sights to see. But yeah, you definitely getting in there. You might never come out, or we'll have to put you in an asylum when you hop out of there.
Right.
Yeah. So I fell in love with triathlons in like you said, 2016. I was looking for the next kind of thing. I worked out a little bit. Like you said, I didn't own a bike. Triathlons. I'll be honest, I thought those were dorky guys wearing spandex, and I'm one of those dorky guys wearing spandex now. A buddy of mine said, "Hey, let's do a triathlon race." So it was over some beers, and I said I could beat him. He said he could beat me, and that's how it started. And I bought a bike and started running. Couldn't swim. Just kind of. I knew how to swim. I knew how to survive. Just started. I could swim to the boat and back, grab another beer, go back out. That was my swimming expertise.
Yeah.
But no, I did the triathlon and loved it. And then I did some Ironmans and stuff, and I saw these extreme triathlons I never had heard of, and in these exotic places, Norway, Himalayan mountains, Montenegro, and they were out of the ordinary. You were swimming in cold water. You were running and biking in the mountains on mountain trails for the runs up, big descents on the bike, big descents. And I'm like, this looks amazing. And it's one of those things that it scared me so much. I was excited to go do. I had both excitement and scaring. Like, am I even going to be able to finish this? And that adrenaline kind of rush is what drew me to it. And that's what I've been doing and just completely loving it.
Actually, Jason, this is good. This is a curiosity that it always gets sparked. You started out running, competing a few hours, then a little more and a little more. And we say there's two motivations. One is away from pain and the other one's towards pleasure. So what do you think you're running from, or what are you running towards?
If we get really really deep.
Yes.
I can always remember growing up, my dad was always pushing me harder to be the best, right? To tackle on the best things. I always remember, I was born in 75, so, not super young, but, he had just come out the Vietnam War time and all that. And I can always remember any conflicts back in, the early 80s with my dad. I always can remember my dad, send in the Marines, send in the Marines. They're the toughest. Well, how am I going to look the toughest in my dad's eyes? Well, I'm joining the Marine Corps. And I scored really good on my ASVABs where I could get almost most of the jobs in there. And they're like, what do you want to be? Well, I want to be infantry. What else are the Marines? You're going into trained to, defend the country. So that's what I did. And so I think this, I feel deep down, I'm always trying to maybe, my dad has passed now, but I think that's still always trying to be showing him, am I manly enough? I guess that's my like deep kind of our deep thoughts of the day. If we dig down deep, is just trying to always prove to maybe him, which I don't have to prove to him anything to him anymore, but prove to myself that I am that person that I've wanted to become, and that I've always heard growing up.
A driver. So, and that's your old dad. That's always a driver, to your old dad and or mom, that has planted something in your head, and I love that. It's a real endearing quality. When you're on these like long treks, and I mean, there's always going to be some moment where you might have a reality check. What am I doing? And or how am I going to get through this? You might call him a demon. How do you deal with that?
And yeah, that I'll be honest. During the races, I probably say I'm never doing another race again. Why did I sign up for this stupid thing? That little demon or our friend is always there. And there's definitely those dark periods where everything hurts, everything is miserable. You want to just quit. But then, I have to really pull myself back, and I think back, hopefully I'm not going to die. This pain will go away. You've trained many hours upon hundreds and thousands of hours, a lot of times leading up to this race. You've been here, done that. Pull yourself together, keep pushing. Maybe my heart rate's high and I'm freaking out. It's like, I'll look, I'm like, all right, let's bring the heart rate back down a little bit. Let's pull ourselves together. Let's just, get in a good rhythm on the bike or get in a good rhythm on the run. And, you kind of pull yourself out of that dark area. And then all of a sudden you look around and, there's these beautiful mountains and you're like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing it. And, then you finally cross that finish line and everything's forgotten. It's all roses and candy and beer and everybody's happy. And yeah, so
kind of like after a woman after a woman gives birth, I'm never going to have another kid. And all of a sudden they forget about that pain.
Yeah, you start kind of a day goes by, the pain's gone away a little less. Oh, that was a little fun. Week or two later, you're like, oh, what race should I sign up for now? What can I look? You forget about how much you hurt during it, and your brain starts kind of just remember taking out the good parts of it.
Right.
Speaking of pain, we've had a few guests on the show that kind of talk about pain that is more of a gift or a teacher, right?
Right.
And so being a cyclist, I don't know if you quoted it or you're like it, Lance Armstrong's definition of pain, where I'm going to read it. He says, pain is temporary. It may be a last minute or an hour or a day or a year, but eventually it will subside and something else will take its place. If I quit, however, that lasts forever. And to surrender, even the smallest act of giving up stays with me. So when I feel like quitting, I ask myself, which would I rather live with? And so it's kind of what you just went through. I love this quote, but now I want to hear Verbie's quote of what pain is and and what lessons it teaches you?
My one quote I was literally drilled into my head in the Marines, pain is temporary, pride is forever.
Ooh.
So, that pain again, I think I just start thinking back on all the things, and it's always going to hurt. And I just remember how strong our body is. And even, our brain, I really have to get into, our brain is trying to protect us, right? Our brain doesn't want us to get hurt. We put our hand over fire. Our brain tells us, pull our hand back. We're out on a run and we're breathing hard and our lungs are hurting. Our mind's saying, slow down, slow down. We don't want you to hurt. So, as our brain is our best friend, it's also our worst enemy at times, where we really have to just, hey, I know you're trying to protect me, but deep down, I know my body's stronger and we can keep pushing. And when we're done pushing, we're going to look at it and go, well, that wasn't that hard, or, even like in, any person who's maybe done a race or even high school running or any kind of thing, you're running and you're ready to quit. And all of a sudden you turn the corner and you see that finish line. And then all of a sudden you're sprinting and you're feeling good. Well, wait a second. Well, now our brain knows, oh, the race is over. Now we're happy. And how we could barely move maybe 10 seconds before or around that corner because our brain was telling us, slow down, you're hurting, ouch, ouch. Yeah, we're Superman. We're, all of a sudden we got all the energy and we feel fine. And then we're walking around hugging people. And well, where did all that pain go? Right. Well, our brain was just telling us we were in that pain to protect us. So I really have my pain's temporary, pride's forever. That I just kind of keep thinking that pride's going to be around that corner, that pain's going to leave us.
You're so right. But I want to make a twist on it. You talked about the demon as far as your dad driving you to be pretty hard, and you and I were both motocross mini dads where we had our kids and we drove our kids and we had the pain of victory and agony of defeat when they did really well. We're all excited. When they did bad, we're like, oh my God, pull your head out. What was wrong with you? And now we have the pain personally when we compete. Can you categorize each pain and how you've dealt with each lesson?
Well, the pain with, you don't want to see your kids miserable, right? You don't, that pain is hard with seeing all their, and there's nothing you can do, but, try to, well, we most of the time yelled at them that they needed to go faster. How come they weren't trying hard enough? But years later, and deep down then you knew that they were trying as hard as they could. Right. I think, that pain of seeing them not do good in a race is, out of your control completely. And, all the odds of everybody else racing. And that literally is, I would say, the hardest, just because you have no control over it. It's all on them. And, you can now seeing, and help with what I do now, helping other riders. It's really, keeping them in that positive aspect in their brain, because once you start beating them down, or they're already feeling bad and beating themselves up enough, you don't need to compound on top of that. You try to pick out the good parts that they've done and focus on that, and look at the other ones on a learning where we can learn and grow from there. So that part with the kids is definitely I'd rather not have that pain and take my own pain, because I can deal with that. Absolutely. And dealing with my own pain and all the stuff that goes on with that, it's just, again, I just try to look at it almost the same way as what can I learn from this pain? Where can I come back to the drawing board or the next workout, next session to do better? Where can I improve on, so I'm not feeling as much. The pain's never going to go away, right? Because we only keep getting stronger and we keep getting faster. If we kept at that comfortable pace or comfortable threshold, we're never going to grow from that. We always have to, where the pain never goes away. We just get used to the pain, and the tolerance for the pain keeps growing.
I always say, I'm a dad too. I have two boys. I always say the most important thing to go through is heartbreak and going broke. So that in itself, the pain, dealing with that when you're younger. So you don't want to deal with that when you get older. So it takes a lot as a parent to watch that your kid go through pain. You have a job. You facilitate that. That's where the magic is. You have a job. You have a wife. You have a kid. It's kids. How do you find time to train and maintain these relationships?
Wow, it's I walk a very tight rope, and a lot of I try to have it perfectly balanced, and it never is. And especially as what I try to do as the race gets closer, obviously the hours go up. Like you said, I still work. The scale's going to go to one side, and thankfully, I'm able to do this now. The kids are all older. They're living their own lives. It's my wife and I at home. So she's very understanding, and she knows when race mode kind of sets in that scale is going to be unbalanced, that all the the honey-do list chores aren't going to get done, but once that race is over and I have the training gets less, that then the scale can go the other way, leaning towards her side. And the triathlon training or whatever I'm training for, that scale drops down, and I'm paying more attention to that stuff. So it's never perfectly balanced, but it's making sure at the end of the year or end of the day that it equals out to hopefully equal or more away from training into a family life. But yeah, but finding that is very hard.
Yeah, great though. That's great.
When we first met, I have to go here.
I knew you would.
Yeah, when we first met, we had both our kids were at national races, racing motocross, and of course, we all wanted our kids to be the next Ricky Carmichael, whatever, and we were pushing. But when I first met you, you're at the back of an RV with a hot dog in your hand, in one hand, a beer in the other hand, talking shit and just hanging out. You did not have the six pack. You did not. I mean, you took a golf cart from the back of an RV to the race start, which is probably 300 yards. You wouldn't even walk it. Now you're coaching and you're dealing with nutrition on athletes, and I'm sure that you don't recommend beer and a hot dog. So, where did this transition from foods and training happen?
Well, I'm either, as my wife will say, I'm all in on something or I'm all out. So when I'm all in, and that during that time I wasn't training for anything, and my life was more around him, it got more into one of the things in the Marine Corps, we trained hard and we partied hard. Well, once I got out and we were family and that, well, I wasn't training, so then it was party hard. And I was never, and I still can't. I can't be that. I'm not that guy that we can go to a barbecue and I can have one beer, two beers socially. We're here to party. I'm at the barbecue. I don't do this anymore. If I was at the barbecue, I would be there helping them set up, and I'd be already drinking, and I'd be there all day and helping them break down, and then looking for the next party. I give it my all on everything. So I definitely gave it my all. So when we were racing, it was, the kids were racing, but the dads were. I mean, we were at these races for a week long. It turned into a big, traveling circus. We were camping, like you said, with the RVs. We had golf carts driving other people's camping, but the beers were flowing, and the mom was at home, so it was dad on food patrol. So it's like whatever's quick and easy. We're, hot dogs, some microwave dinners, and some cold beer.
Oh my God. No way.
Yeah, it was always your camp, and I can think of another guy's couple of camps. Is when the wives weren't there, the nutritional value wasn't very high. The kids that had the wives there, they had a little better nutrition, which is kind of shocking, right?
Yeah.
But now you're a guy, and now you're pushing nutrition. What are some of the nutritional advice you talk to the young kids now that you're working with?
Don't have the hot dogs for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And if I had a time machine and can go back, oh my gosh, would I do everything completely different? Um, it was, I, then it was, make sure you're drinking like a Gatorade and, have a bowl of cereal, you know. So now with the kids, really just teaching them, you know, everything we should be taught in school. What good food, what good carbs are, what good proteins are, making sure they're, water, and kids are hard with water. So some kind of like good hydration mix to put in with it, because, you know, they're sweating it out. They're working but they also have that super kid energy where they never feel that ran down. But, we were, oh, you're a little tired. Go get a rock star energy. You'll be fine. I'll pump you up a little bit. But I would, so now I'm like, stay away from that, get a good meal as soon as you're done, just really showing them all the benefits of what good food can do for you and help your body with my racing young kids. And it's still, at that age, they still kind of, their brain's not, they don't understand, too much. So I try to really help them with they understand motorcycles, right? They understand, they know race gas. When they put their race bike has race gas, and that makes that bike go a little bit faster. So I give them all right, what if we have your race bike and we go get the regular pump gas and put in it? Oh, well, my bike doesn't run good. It bah, 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 it clogs up, it bogs up. And I go, exactly. And if we put that race gas in it, what does it do? It runs great. Okay, here's this bad food. This is your bad race gas. This is the not race gas. This is the regular 87 octane gas. What's it going to do in your body? It's still going to let your body run just like your bike still runs, but it's not going to run as efficient and as good as it could. Now, look, these foods are your race gas. If we put those in your body's going to run even better. And that you can almost see the light bulb turn on in their brain going, that makes sense. And just those little things where they have something to compare it to, they're always going to remember, oh, me grabbing this apple or banana is better than me going in and grabbing this bag of chips. And a lot of times it's hard as parents, like you were saying, when the moms aren't there, the dads are, and this could be for any sport, a mom, somebody taking their kid to football. Oh, we're just going to go through a drive-through and get them some food. It does take that extra time to have those healthy choices there for them. And that's kind of on our own fault, getting lazy. And, the dads are there, they're trying to get dinner. They're trying to make sure the bike's running. They're trying to make sure they have another beer in their hand to go over to Dr. T's and hang out for a little bit. And, so
Yeah, right.
it's all, we kind of get lazy, but at the end of the day, if we stay on it, it helps the whole program all around.
I'm gonna before we go to the next topic, I want to kind of twist something that you had said, and that is, the dads sometimes get lazy, but we're also trying to get the bike ready. We're trying to do this, and this is any sport. We're trying to get the equipment ready,
yeah,
and all that. So, give me 3 quick tips off the top of your head a tip for the dad that is taking the kid to the race that can help his son or daughter do the next level of training that you can give the dad. I want you to give some advice to the dad.
Having something already planned out. If you're there for a while, even, cooking the dinners and freezing them. And that way you can have them, it's like prepping meals, having meals already prepped, ready to go. So you're you're getting home from work, you're grabbing the baseball bat, the gloves, the balls. You can heat up a meal that you know is already nutritionally good for them that they're eating, and then even making sure, again, already have the groceries. You have healthy snacks ready to go, healthy drinks ready to go. Those are the biggest things quick for nutrition wise that you could do for them. Just already having a plan, because when you don't have that plan ready to go, there's 7-Eleven, there's a McDonald's. It's convenient, it's quick. We're already behind. Traffic's bad. All those things come up. You were late from work. He had extra homework he had to get done. You're running late. All those little things can put you behind. But if you already have a plan in front of it with snacks, food, things already planned out, you're half the battle's won.
Jason, I like your energy, man. We are entering our phase called the rapid fire questions, which means that I'm going to ask you a question and you're going to give me a quick and brief answer. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Favorite Himalayan or Tibet amusement park ride?
Amusement park ride was way more dangerous than the Himalayan. I'm going with the Himalayan.
What was the ride though?
It was just a regular, what is that, Ferris wheel, and the kid running it was probably 13 years old, smoking cigarettes with his buddy, and it was a diesel-driven, belt-driven Ferris wheel that had to be going 40 miles an hour. I mean, we were out of our seats anti-gravity every time we got to the top, and and it was the most rusted up, cranky. I'm like, we're gonna launch out of these seats and into space. There's no way we're gonna live, but we had to do it.
Did you check the bolts before you got in it to make sure they're tight?
I didn't. I just hung out for dear life.
Thing you have done. Question number 2: craziest thing you have done naked.
Naked. Oh, probably in Iceland. I stripped down naked. We were at one of their big waterfalls, and I got up there, and it looked so refreshing. I stripped down naked, went swimming in the little lake right there, and was standing up in the waterfalls. Just hit my head. I was butt naked, and there's pictures to prove it.
Oh my God.
Hey, Spencer, do you know, just whenever we've asked that question, our guests don't even hesitate.
No,
they just
I
go,
know.
oh, it's this, It's like, you and I'd be like, yeah, there you go. Oh, well, I was doing this. I was in Iceland underneath the waterfall.
Yeah. Funny. Question number 3. When your tank is absolutely empty, what mantra do you think about when getting to the finish line?
My mantra is one step at a time, and I literally tell myself, I keep going, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. One bite at a time. That is when my tank's empty and I keep going. I just know, just keep taking that next step or that next pedal stroke. Just one more, and you can't look. Looking at an elephant, I'm never going to finish it. One bite at a time.
What is your answer when people say, I love it? Question number 4. What is your answer when people say you're crazy?
I'm not crazy. I'm just not like you.
You read David Goggins' book.
Right on. Favorite food. And last, your favorite cheat food.
Oh, man. I love pancakes. Stacked up pancakes all day long, every meal.
Oh, and I'm hungry too. That was good.
I know, right? Asshole.
I'm not gonna lie. Before this, I just had a big plate of strawberry crepes. So, very thin pancakes, right? We won't say crepes.
Yeah.
Those are crap.
All right, I'll be back.
Those are great. Great answers to the rapid fire questions. Now, this is a regular question, and how have these extreme triathlons impacted other areas of your life, such as your relationships, careers, or personal goals?
Wow. Well, it's brought me on the whole path of I became a triathlon coach. And I started training and coaching triathletes, which then got me back into training motocross again for off bike fitness and off bike fitness and nutrition. It's brought me into, and this has to do with Dr. T too. It brought me into the whole recovery part of the industry with, when our kids used to get hurt, it was always how fast can we get back and race? When can we race again? What can we do to get better? And learning from Dr. T and introducing, going to the chiropractors, the chiropractors with their PEMF to help the bones heal faster, hyperbaric chambers with concussions. It's brought me into that whole side where I actually partnered up with I I started using that for myself. Just I wasn't injured, but I was like, wow, Dr. T had us go into all this stuff when these injuries occurred. What if I just used them when I'm not injured to help me just heal better so I can be better in that next practice session? Whoa, game changer. So I started using hyperbaric chambers, PEMF to do that stuff for myself, which has grown into I got my own stuff at home. And when I was looking at the hyperbaric chambers, realizing the people that sell them, there was such a big difference. And everybody's website was hard to manage that I partnered up with a partner and we started our own hyperbaric chamber company. So we sell hyperbaric chambers also. So that little first triathlon where it was because of drinking beer and talking crap around a fire has led to a completely different path in life where I'm able to give back and help other athletes, help them recover, help them nutrition. It's literally changed my whole direction. I've gone on from one street to the freeway. It's completely changed it.
Talking about recovery. Terry, did you see how excited he gets like that? Talking about recovery? I wish everybody talked like that.
I thought it was exciting because he was talking about Dr. T. I thought that's what got him excited.
That's what got me excited.
See?
So you get him excited. Very nice.
I always get him excited.
All right. Dr. Spencer, I just wish I knew then. That's why I get so passionate about it. I wish I knew back then or maybe if I would have listened to Dr. T more and, got it. But, just how much, we break down you see everybody's workout, right? These 30-second workouts where, they're flipping tires and they're sprinting hard. And well, yeah, you're tearing your muscles up, but the recovery is where you're going to be better to do that at that next workout. And if we can go back to every workout at 100% than being at 80% or 85%, how much more gains are we going to keep getting? I mean, your recovery is everything.
That's the takeaway.
Everything.
Terry, that's the takeaway. That's the takeaway.
Oh, it is. And that's why, I wasn't at the back of those RVs a lot of the time, drinking the beer, the hot dog. I was in my RV working on all the kids to recover them for the next day. Yep. But this man is taking it to the next level, and I'm so proud of everything you've done. By the way,
really
thank you.
We talk about the physical aspect of it, and we heard a little bit about your nutritional perspective, especially at an elementary level with kids, and those were great metaphors. And in fact, those were sensational metaphors about fuel in the vehicle versus race time versus fuel in your body. But for the more accomplished triathletes, what would you suggest nutritionally? Some of the common mistakes you see.
It's not much different than with the kids. And especially, the pros have a little more time, and they understand it more, but the everyday triathlete, the husband, the parent still working a regular job, we fall into a lot of the exact same things as the convenience of the food and time. And you've got meetings and you got this. Well, again, there's the junk food is everywhere and it's convenient for us to go grab. It's harder to go find those healthy snacks. So, and a lot of times that's the triathletes that I coach. It's the same thing, just making sure you are meal prepping or having the good nutrition there accessible for you, because time's going to keep going, that we can't control that. So just having our own stuff ready, because something's always going to come up. A phone call, email. I mean, now with our phones, we have that there, and we get so distracted. And the next thing, you're like, oh, I'm going to go get this thing healthy. And a client calls you, or you check, oh, I'm just going to check my email real quick. And you answer 5-6 emails, and it's been 30 minutes, and you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm running behind. Let me go. There's a Snickers in the vending machine. Let me go grab that really quick. Or, let me grab a soda or an energy drink on the way out. And it's just, just having something good for you there is the biggest thing for my triathletes. Also, just making sure you're planning, even if it's carrying that lunchbox with you to work, and that stuff's at your feet while you're at your desk or whatever you're doing, that it's there for you.
Do you find that more athletes pay attention to their equipment than their body?
Oh, 100%. They've got no problem dropping $15,000 on a new road bike. Then, man, what if I went and saw a massage therapist once a week to help me recover, or go to the chiropractor, or buying the healthier foods? Yeah, and I've been guilty of that myself. Nope. Oh, that $100 for all these healthy groceries, or I can get a little less quality stuff and for half the price. And you're saving here and there, but you've got no problem on some new fancy piece of equipment. It's like, take my money, I'll buy it.
So how do you as a coach, how do you get that mindset to change to where they have to go? Listen, if you put this research into what wheels are faster on the road, or in motocross, maybe working on a little bit of that engine to get that half a horsepower off the starting line. Where do you how do you get their mindset to go put that same energy into researching what foods, like a journal, this food made me bonk, this food gave me energy? How do you get that mindset to change?
And it's really just having to be constantly on top of them. And like you said, great, there is, starting a food journal. The journal's not going to lie with your notes. I tell them, hey, keep a journal. I want you to journal everything you're doing for the week. Don't change up anything. Just write it down. And after each meal or different times of the day, pick 2-3 times a day. How are you feeling? How was your workout? Just jot a quick note. Workout went great. Had energy, didn't have energy. Awesome. And then after that week, then I tried, all right, I want you to buy these healthy foods. I can see what they've eaten. They, make sure they record all the foods that they've eaten. And then we look at it and we find healthier choices. And then the same thing. Now try this for a week and write down how you felt, how your workouts have gone. And most of the time, as we're looking back and comparing, again, that light bulb turns on. I felt better. I slept better. My sleep wasn't restless. Had a better workout. Felt more energy during the day. Well, we didn't change. The workouts didn't change. They weren't any harder or easier. What changed? My foods. Ding, ding.
Yeah.
So let's go a little deeper into training. You train now both triathletes and motocross athletes. And for those listening, they may think those are world apart, and the only similarity is that they have two wheels. Yet, can you tell us a little about the demands of each athlete and how they're similar, but how you approach each one?
Well, yeah, they're very, like you said, they're two worlds apart, but they're very, very the same. The motocross, it's all how hard you're pushing your heart, right? At the end of the day. So most of the sports you could start equal into the same thing. Endurance sports, it's, how our bodies don't understand pace. They don't understand speed. It's how much work your heart is doing. And and how much you're stressing your body. So then, they're both motocross is even more crazier than, triathletes, especially the short distance triathletes. Yes, their heart rates are very high. They're pushing very hard, but the long distance triathletes, you're staying at a lower heart rate, obviously longer time, where the motocross guys are going peak heart rate red line for 35 minutes straight. So my motocross guys, I really have to watch. I both have to watch them very much. Triathletes want to train. We got to train more to get faster. So both of them are watching overtraining issues by making sure they have proper rest days, or easy recovery days where it's low heart rate stuff like zone 1, very low zone 2. We can't, we see it on Instagram all the time. Every athlete goes hard all the time, according to their Instagram stories. But really making sure that they are putting in the easier workouts, the recovery workouts, and then again, their nutrition wise. So both of them, I really try to make sure they got a good balance between both the hard and the easy in the recovery sessions. So I mean, they're so similar. I don't want to say it's easy, but to train them, most athletes are all type A, right? So they all want to be successful and push hard. So that's the easy part. And it's just really, at the end of the day, a lot of times pulling the reins back on them and letting them know that less is more. Doing less is more a lot of the times.
Motocross endurance. I'm not real familiar with motocross, but what is it? Motocross endurance is what? Is it? Explain.
It's an endurance sport. I mean, their heart rates are peaked out. I mean, my pros like that I'm dealing with today their heart rates will probably be at 200 heartbeats a minute. It's an endurance sport. I mean, you're 30 minutes straight. Their heart rates are peaked out. I mean, my pros like hitting that I'm dealing with today will going be 40 miles an hour to the next jump, be at 200 heartbeats a minute tight. I mean, they're using 30 minutes straight. Every muscle, their core. I mean, they're putting their hitting jumps under the most stress, going and have to 40 miles an hour to the next split-second decisions, braking, hitting a corner tight, changing gears in the air, tapping the every part, every muscle, their core. They're not only putting their endurance under the physically, but also mentally with the thinking. Split-second decisions. It's not just them out there. There's changing gears in the air, tapping the brakes, bringing their front end down, hit or pass or run into. They're not only endurance physically, but also mentally with the thinking and peaked out. It's not just them out there. There's 21 other riders workout you can imagine. They're having to make sure imagine they don't running, hit or pass, sprinting as hard as you can for 30 minutes straight. That's not possible in your head, and that's basically what these most intense athletes are doing on workout. You can imagine with that heart. Imagine running, sprinting as hard as you can for 30 minutes straight. It's just that's not possible in your head, and that's basically what these athletes are doing on their motorcycle.
What it would take with all the adrenaline, keeping it at a constant level. I'm sure these guys are fatigued, fatigued at the end. And that's where it's great, where the hyperbaric oxygen and the PEM. Could you explain for the audience what the PEMF is and how that helps?
It's the pulse electromagnet field therapy, which basically it's the machine itself is creating a spark, and that is going through wherever kind of apparatus you have. It's basically on your body or specific rings in a certain place if you're injured, and putting energy into your cells and help energizing your cells to help you heal faster, heal bones, have bones heal in half the time.
That's great.
That's I guess the quick, easy way I try to explain it.
Yeah, but even more important, when we talk about recovery and how generations ago we felt that we get cared for when we're in pain, but your mission is to help these athletes, these young athletes, and even older athletes take care of themselves before the pain comes on. They don't realize that right before pain, you've already broken down tissue, and it's all it takes is just a little bit more to push you over the edge. So I think recovery is really a great message you're sharing with the youth. Super important. So
Right.
So,
And
go
oh,
ahead.
so I do have something. We're gonna wrap up because I know you have to go, but I do have a question for you to leave for the audience. I want your three best. You keep talking about healthy snacks or good nutrition. I want to know details. So, what would be your three healthy snacks that you would recommend a parent get their kid for pre-race, and three healthy snacks for recovery, and then for like for moto, people don't think of riding the motorcycle is sitting on two wheels and getting the gas, and the motorcycle does the work for you. They don't realize they're squeezing a gyro between their thighs and they're trying to wrestle it for 30 minutes. So if you have motos where you have two races and you have that recovery time in between, so I want to know that three snacks pre, during, and after that you recommend your athletes.
whew. All right. So for the pre, kind of the healthy snack for the kids, I any fruit is really good. Trying to get some bananas in them, even I even tell them a peanut butter sandwich, a little bit of protein, some quick carbs that are easily digestible. Um, you don't want to give them a heavy, big pasta meal beforehand, because then it's going to be sitting in your stomach. Just, something that's, again, any fruits, some kind of, drink with electrolytes. If you're gonna grab the Gatorade, try to grab a Gatorade Zero. Gets rid of all that sugar. Um, and then during, that's a really hard one during, because every person's body's kind of different in what they can handle during. Between different motos, or between train and your next training session, on what your body can kind of absorb, especially for moto. Some kids and adults can eat anything in between, or some have anything in their stomachs instantly going, GI issues coming. So that really depends on the person. I would, my biggest thing is making sure they're staying hydrated in between, getting some, there's so many different drinks out there now where you can get their different carbo fuels. I know Rhino Power has a great carbo fuel that you can get the carbs in. It's, mixes up into a shake. You can get the carbs in quick. It has some electrolytes. That's what I try to. That's what I personally use myself. I don't want any food in there, because I'm always worried what it's going to do to my stomach. So I just try to drink my calories. And then as far as after, nothing better than, like, immediately after, getting in a protein shake with around 25, 30 grams, anyone that you like. And then just getting in a healthy meal with, potato, an hour or so after, getting in potatoes, rice, good vegetable, and some protein, be it some chicken, steak, any kind of heavier meal like that, where your body can, first you get the protein shake in, so it instantly gets all your protein to help the body's recovering, and then you're getting in the better meal for more helping the body recover.
All right, I'm going to see how well you navigate this one. So you say politically correct, but sponsorship. You have athletes that get sponsored by different companies that they want them to be seen eating or drinking their products. And so, how do you navigate that one if that personal product maybe doesn't work with their system?
That's a really tricky one, right? But well, trade secret. I hope I'm not spilling the beans, but when they're like Monster, I won't say a specific one. A lot of the energy drink, they're actually just drinking water. I mean, my son, he was sponsored by Monster. They literally sent us cans cases and cases of Monster cans, but they were filled with water. And in small print on them, it said water, but they were for the podium talks, So unfortunately, that's what our youth is seeing, that, oh, he's drinking a Monster. It's water in there. He's drinking water to get rehydrated for his next race. You know, Marketing trick, but, so a lot of times don't believe what you're seeing, and yeah, they're paying them for these things, but a lot of times, unfortunately, it's just a paycheck, and what you actually think they're taking is not the truth. So,
Yeah.
that's the truth of our industry, right?
Yeah. I found out from one of the strength and conditioning coach for an NBA team that it's not Gatorade in those big bins that are on the side of the court. It's actually, they went and paid for Fiji water because it's more alkaline, and it was room temperature, so it assimilates faster in the body and takes less energy than a cold drink. It's really fascinating. But yeah, go ahead, Terry.
And you find that, do you recommend all your athletes to, if they're going to make a nutritional change, make sure that you're doing it during a hard practice so they know what works and not wait for game day to try something new?
Number one rule: nothing new on race day. Any sport, you're not gonna, no new shoes. At least you got a run or two in them. No new shoes. No. Oh, they gave me this free T-shirt when I signed up for this race, and I picked it up race morning. I'm gonna put it on. No. All of a sudden you're chafing somewhere you don't want to chafe. Nothing new that you haven't tested before prior to race day is my number one rule.
Why do you think people like, oh, try this, and people will do it on race day because their buddy says, here, try this, oh, or I'm really tired, oh, here, try this, and people will still do it? Why do you think that the psyche of that is?
I don't know. I don't know if it's that new shiny penny kind of thing. Ooh, well, so and so said this works, and this is going to give me an advantage. Let's do it. I mean, a lot of times come race day, we get that thing that they call race brain, where our brains just aren't thinking correctly, and any new little thing that all of a sudden we think might help us get a little advantage, our brain thinks that's a great idea. Let's go for it. And we forget, maybe we should have tested that first to make sure that's good before we're eating something new and we're standing on the side somewhere puking it all back up.
It's funny.
That
Jason, it's funny. I want to ask you before we finish up here. You've been on a bunch of different podcasts, and is there anything that you haven't been asked that you want to mention, or is there something that you want to leave our listeners with?
Two of the biggest things is, one, it's never too late to start. Like Dr. T had said about me, I started this journey later in my life. And you don't have to be running the mountains in Nepal. Everybody's hard's different, and everybody starts from somewhere. So my hard might be a 100-mile race, where my wife's hard might be just doing a 1-mile race. It doesn't make them any different. They're both hard at where we're at in our life. So don't get discouraged before you even start. Pick something that's a challenge for you and go for it. And you're not alone. There's all these people, and you get into these endurance communities, and they're all so friendly. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, people think, well, I'm not this athlete, I can't, everybody's going to laugh at me. And they're so open and welcoming with open arms. And there's 90% are newer people. And even the older ones that have been there, they're willing to help you and give you ideas and help you in your journey. So don't be afraid to start. And who knows, you could be running the mountains in Nepal right next to me. That I'm nothing special, and you can get there too. It's just taking that first step and going out and doing it.
Leader and Thanks, Jason. And you are pretty special. You're a natural leader and motivator. I love the energy you bring to the podcast. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for giving me the time. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
All righty.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Crackin Backs podcast. We hope you enjoyed, and make sure you follow our Instagram at Crackin Backs Podcast. Catch new episodes every Monday. See you next time.